Hi, this week we are working on expressions and equations for the 8th grade. Here are the different standards under the equations and expressions cluster. Notice that everything is continuing to build on each other from previous grades. So we're going to start out with placing values on a number line. So we have 2 squared, negative 1 and 4/10, and the square root of 9. So I'm going to evaluate each option. I know that 2 squared is 4, negative 1 and 4/10 is still negative 1 and 4/10, and the square root of 9 is 3. So I can place 4 on the number line. I can place negative 1 and 4/10 about where it should go, and I also can place 3 on the number line. Now let's try placing the following real numbers on the number line. I have pi, pi squared, negative 1/2 pi, 3 and 14/100, the square root of a, and b squared. So I already know that pi is 3.14159, etc. So I can place that about where it should go. I can then place each one of these where they might go, because I know that pi squared is 3 and 14/100 times itself, so 9.8596, so that's going to go closer to 10. If I took negative 1/2 pi, that gives me approximately negative 1 and 57/100, so I can place that on the number line. I have 3.14, which I've already placed on the number line. It should be slightly less than pi itself because it's rounded. And when I look at b squared, must be between 2 squared and 2.5 squared, since it's slightly to the left there, which means it must be between 4 and 6.5. So I'll kind of place it in between 4 and 6.5, somewhere between there. The square root of a then, we know the square root more or less than half is what it should be. So then 2/10 times 2/10 is 4/100, and 7/10 times 7/10 is 49/100. So it must go between 4 and 49/100. So even though we can't represent an irrational number as a ratio of integers, we can approximate their value on the number line. And we do know that some numbers are irrational, such as the ones that we just tackled. Answer true or false to each statement. Since irrational numbers continue forever, they cannot be located on a number line. We often use 3 and 14/100 to approximate pi, but it is not the exact value of pi. You cannot perform operations like multiplying or dividing on irrational numbers. Pause the video, answer true or false to these questions, and then come back. The first one is true, but I'd also say it's false as well. Since irrationals do continue forever, they cannot be located on a number line. We can locate them on the number line as an approximate value. So we cannot put the exact value, but we can approximate them on the number line. We do use 3.14 to approximate pi, but we know it's not the exact value. And we certainly can perform operations on irrational numbers, but we'll need to round or truncate the irrational number in order to use it. Therefore, your answers you find will be approximate answers only. The relationship between a number of movies a customer watches and the total cost is shown in the graph. How much would it cost to watch 11 movies? Well, I see based on the line that we drew here that the cost for one movie is $5. Therefore, the cost of two movies is $10. The cost of 3 movies is $15. And I can plot these points on our line. So 1, 5, 2, 10, and 3, 15 correspond. We're particularly interested in how much 11 movies will cost if I know that one movie is $5. Well, I know that 1 times 11 is 11 movies, so 5 times 11 is 55. It would cost $55 to watch 11 movies. The cost increases by $5 for each additional movie that we watch. So this tells us about how the values are changing together. If I watch 8 movies per month and my friend watches 5 movies per month, should we each purchase a subscription? So with a Webflix subscription, the monthly cost for one movie is $10 and the monthly cost for 4 movies is $22. If we do not have a subscription, each movie costs $5. Can we come up with a rule to calculate the monthly cost with and without a subscription for any number of movies? Well, I see here that the ratio of $10 for one movie is not equivalent to $22 for 4 movies. So it's not proportional together. But I do see that when I go to the movies watched, I increase 3 movies and I increase $12. So the rate of change is $12 per 3 movies or $4 per movie. So for 8 movies, it would be $38. So $5 for one movie is how many for 8 movies? Well, 1 times 8 is 8, and 5 times 8 is 40. I should purchase a subscription. So $5 for one movie is how many dollars for 5 movies? Well, again, one movie times 5 is 5 movies, and $5 times 25, 5 times 5 is $25. My friend should not obtain a subscription since it would cost less. Can we come up with a rule to calculate the monthly cost with and without a subscription for any number of movies? And I see I have a typo, this should be 25. So y is 5 times x, where x must be the number of movies, and we're increasing by 5 each time. So the rate of change is $12 for 3 movies, which is equivalent to $4 per movie, which is equal to a negative change every time we go down. So I subtract a movie and I subtract $4. So for 0 movies, it would cost me at minimum $6 for the monthly cost. So for 0 movies, it costs $6, which must be the monthly fee for the subscription. This would mean that we would have 4 times the amount of movies we rent plus the $6 fee. For any linear function, the ratio between the change in the output values and the change in the input values is constant. We can calculate the rate of change by dividing the difference in the output values by the difference in the input values. Below are 2 advertisements for 2 companies that sell monthly subscriptions for downloading music. Which company offers a better deal? We have the Totally Tunes, which gives, they claim to give music for less. We pay $5 each month plus a 25-cent per song fee. Or the Groovy Beats is $4.50 for 2 songs or $5.25 for 5 songs. So on the left-hand side, one song would cost the $5 plus the 25-cent fee. If I did 2 songs, it would be $5 plus 50 cents for 2 for 25 cents. 3 songs would be $5.75. 4 songs would be $6. So our general rule is y is equal to 25 cents times how many songs we download plus the $5 fee. Now, when I look over at the Groovy Beats, I see that I have 2 songs for $4.50 and 5 songs for $5.25. This is an increase in 75 cents. So the difference between 450 to 475, 475 to 5, and 5 to 525, incrementing between 2, 3, 4, and 5 songs would have to mean that there would be 25 cents in between each song. So therefore, if we go backwards and subtract 25 cents, we would be at 1 song for $4.25. And 0 songs subtracting another 25 cents would be $4. So therefore, they must also be charging 25 cents per song, but their monthly fee is $4. Groovy Beats has the better deal because although they have the same rate per song, their monthly fee is much cheaper. If Robbie worked for 8 hours this Saturday and May gave 6 tours, what amount should Susan write on each of their checks? And would you rather have Robbie's job or May's job? And explain. The student employees for week 1 are as follows. Robbie worked 2 hours while May gave 1 tour. The second week, Robbie worked 7 hours and May gave 4 tours. And then we have the student check employee, the checks for each student employee. And then the positions. The gift shop is paid by the hour, so that must be Robbie since he works by the hour. And the tour guide gets a flat daily rate with additional pay for each tour given. So let's let y equal kx. So if we were to allow k to be his wage times how much hours he works, we could have some of the possibilities here for Robbie. So 21 divided by 2 hours is $10.50. $33 divided by 2 hours is $16.50. And 57 divided by 7 hours is about $8.14. And $73.50 divided by 7 is $10.50. So I'm guessing his hourly rate is $10.50 per hour. Now when I look at May then, the rest of her paychecks must be, the leftover paychecks must be what she gets. So we could possibly use y equals mx plus b because she gets a flat rate plus she gets an additional pay for each tour given. So from 1 tour to 4 tours and from $33 to $24. So we go from 1 tour to 4 tours, which is a change in 3, and from 33 to 57 is a change in $24. That must mean that she gets $8 per tour. And if we go back 1 and subtract from 1 tour to 0 tours and take $33 minus her $8 per tour, that would mean that she gets $25 for a flat rate. So the equation for Robbie is $10.50 times the number of hours he works, and the equation for May would be $8 times how many tours she gives plus the flat rate of $25. If we were to plug in, let's say, 8 hours for Robbie, he would make $84. If we did, let's say, 6 tours for May, we would get 8 times 6 plus 25, so $73. Slope is the constant between all pairs of points on a given line. Find the y-coordinate when x is equal to -6 on the line that passes through the points 0, 4, and 4, negative. So I can plot my points 0, 4, and the points 4, -2. I can see that the slope means that we're falling from one point to the next is negative down 6 to the right 4, which is equivalent to -3/2, or also equivalent to up 9 to the left 6, as we can see with our triangles. The y-intercept here is at 0, 4. We know that then that the equation of y equals mx plus b is the slope times x plus the y-intercept. So our equation is y equals -3/2 x plus 4. I know that I want my x value to be -6, so I will plug that in for x. Y is equal then to -3/2 times -6 plus 4. Y equals 18/2 plus 4, which is the same as 9 plus 4, so 13. So when my x-coordinate is -6, my y-coordinate is +13. And we can see that at the top left of our graph.